Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and this channel is all about entrepreneurship and living your best life. So if you are a regular around here, you can tell that I am not in my usual filming space because I am actually in London. I'm over the other side of the world. It's freezing. I'm here for my very first cold Christmas, which I'm very, very excited about. But I wanted to sit down and record this video because I did a video a couple of months ago, which many of you loved, which was all about habits. And one of the habits that I spoke about in that video was the habit of reframing. And what that particularly means is being able to take a situation and just look at the positive side of that. And I guess what I really wanted to talk about today was essentially how to be happy. I know that's a really, really broad statement to make, but it's something that I do get asked a lot from so many of you online. I'm in a really sticky situation or I'm experiencing a lot of negativity. How can I be more positive so that I can achieve more in my life? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I did call this video How to Always Be Happy, but it was a little bit clickbaity, I must admit, because I don't believe that we always should be happy. So anyway, I'll talk about all of that in just a second. But if you did enjoy the video, I would very much appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. And of course, if you are new around here, then consider subscribing. So as I said, I don't truly believe that we should always be happy. And that's actually my first tip when it comes to happiness, is that you should actually embrace the darkness. I think it's so much worse when we are, in the pursuit of living an amazing life to think that every single day is going to be this magical rainbow and that our life is just going to be full of sunflowers and nothing is ever going to go wrong. We're human beings. We are supposed to experience a range of different emotions. We are supposed to experience the darkness. And once you actually get to the point where you are happy with the fact that there is polarity in life, that in order for you to really appreciate the good times, the happy times, the joyful times, you do have to go through the darkness. In order to appreciate the day, you've got to, go through the night. For me, in order to appreciate the heat, I am very much appreciating a hot Australian summer now that it is like 3 degrees outside here in the UK. But we have to experience that difference in life in order to really appreciate. If you were just happy all the time, you would take it for granted. But then I guess the situation comes that if you finally get to the point where you can just appreciate the fact that sometimes you are supposed to be sad, you can find peace in that sadness. If you're having a day where you're just feeling down, you're not feeling your best self, or you're not looking your best, recognizing that that is okay and that you shouldn't feel guilty about it, or that you shouldn't feel less than worthy about it, then you can find peace in that sadness and you can just ride the waves of those emotions until a happier mood does come your way. So my first tip is really just embracing the darkness, embracing that it's okay as a human being to feel sadness. It's okay as a human being to go through situations in life where you feel negative, and just know that it's not your entire life. It may just be a spell. It may be a day, a week, or a month, but at the end of the day, a bad day doesn't equal a bad life. So always remember that. But then my next tip on that is recognizing when enough's enough. Sometimes we can go through pity parties and we can go through spells of just feeling totally negative. But I think what we actually forget is that we control our minds. Sometimes we think that whatever is coming into our mind, be it happy or negative, that's it. We've just got to deal with the fact that it's there and that's what we're currently experiencing. But at the end of the day, we choose our mood, we choose our state, we choose our thoughts. So if you find that, okay, you've experienced the darkness and you've been there long enough, but it's time to get back in action, just know that at any moment in time, you have the opportunity to choose happiness. You have the opportunity to choose how you feel. And I have a very contradictory way in which you can do this. It's not, I guess, the best of advice, but it is very effective. And it is, if you find yourself needing to change your state from a negative one into a positive one, my piece of advice is to actually compare yourself. You know, we do it so often and it can spiral us down into negative states. We compare ourselves to other people on social media, but it's kind of selfish to compare ourselves and feel bad about it when we're comparing our negative lives to someone else's positive life. Why can't we do it in the opposite? Why can't you compare your positive life to someone else's negative life? And what I mean by this is if you're going through a spell where you're feeling super negative, maybe you have, negative toxic people in your workspace and every single day you're just feeling totally frustrated because you've got to go to work and everyone there is just being just the worst. You know what I mean? The worst. The thing is, there are so many people out there who don't have employment. There are so many people who are unable to even work, maybe through disabilities. And you're, complaining about the fact that there is someone else who's got a problem at your office. Why don't you compare yourself to the people who don't even have a job at all? And I guess this comes back to just being grateful for what you do have, but really an easy way for you to snap yourself back into reality and recognize that maybe life isn't so bad and maybe I should choose a positive mood is to kind of recognize that yes, there are people that are worse off than you. And again, I know this is a bit of a controversial piece of advice, but there's no better way to, I guess, start really appreciating the life that you have in front of you by recognizing that there are people out there that are less fortunate than you. I get so many people messaging me online saying, I don't have any money. And I always think to myself, you're complaining to me that you don't have any money at all, and yet you're using social media, which means you have some type of device, which makes me assume that you have a house because you probably have somewhere where your Wi-Fi is connected to. Complaining that you have no money to maybe buy that bag or that makeup or even invest in that course is yeah, okay, it's a sucky situation, but there are people who don't even have homes. So there's always a way to switch your thinking to feel much better about yourself, and knowing that you choose what to focus on in any moment is up to you. And that kind of brings me to my third point, which is all about reframing. Now, this is what I spoke about in my previous video, but in any moment, you have the choice to look at a situation one way or another. So often people say, why are there positive people in the world and why are there negative people in the world living simultaneously side by side? If we looked at that office situation, there might be someone in your office who every single day wants to complain about every single thing. And then there's someone who does the exact same job with the exact same salary with a very similar life who somehow lives a positive life. And that is all because of how we look at things. And again, you have the choice. You have the choice at how you look at situations. If something negative happens to you, you can either say, woe is me, the world's against me, I'm a victim. Or you can say, what lessons can I learn from this? Or how is the universe protecting me in this situation? The example I gave in my previous video when I spoke about reframing was George and I, my fiance, we had just bought these pretty expensive candles, and as we were walking out the store, George dropped them on the ground. And, we could have been like, oh, I'm so angry, I just wasted $40, and maybe even had a fight with each other. I could have been, why are you so clumsy, George? But we kind of both just chose to say, you know what, that candle could have blown up when, we weren't at home, or we could have accidentally left the candle home and it could have burnt the house down with our animals in there. Maybe the universe was protecting us. And you can do this in any moment. Maybe you didn't get a sale in business. Maybe you really wanted this client to work with you, and it was your first client that you were ever going to get, and they seemed like they were definitely going to sign up, and at the last minute they just said, no, it's not for me, thank you. You could sit there and be like, I'm not worthy, I'm a bad coach, my business is gonna fail, I'm never gonna make any money. Or you could sit there and say, maybe the universe was protecting me. Maybe that client was gonna be a really negative client and make me really resent my business. In any moment, with anything that you experience in your life that pulls you away from happiness, you have the option to reframe that. I truly do believe that everything we consider to be failures or negativity in our life is kind of like the universe putting us through an Australian Ninja Warrior or American Ninja Warrior course, training us to be a better person with a better perspective. So you can sit there and be that victim and say, woe is me, the universe, the world, everything's against me, maybe because you're experiencing negativity in your life. Or you can say, what are these challenges trying to teach me? How can I reframe to look at them more positively? What lessons can I pull out of this situation? And when you train yourself to think that way rather than thinking, woe is me, you do become a much happier person, because life is more of a challenge, life is more of a game, life is more of a mission, rather than just things and shit being constantly thrown at you. You can take responsibility for your destiny because of the way that you choose to think about every single situation. So I know that was a bit of a ramble, but just to summarize, ultimately what I said was, if you are trying to live a really happy life going into the new year, you want to make 2019 or any year that you're watching this an amazing year, remember that you are human and it's totally okay to experience the darkness, but give yourself a time limit, give yourself a time cap. If you know that you've wallowed in your pity party for long enough, then choose to then look at the situation differently. Choose to reframe, choose to say, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? But then also know that you have every opportunity to be happy or to be sad in any moment. You choose your mood, you choose your state. And I know this can be very frustrating to hear, especially because when you're so deep into negative emotions, and I'm not by any means talking about depression or anxiety or any mental health issues here. I'm purely talking about the person who is just experiencing negative emotions or choosing to be in a bad mood. Because there's a huge difference in those two situations. But for those who are just choosing to choose negative thoughts and live a negative experience, know that ultimately at the end of the day, what you focus on can change your entire life. So always focus on the fact that no matter where you are, there is always something to be grateful for. And no matter what the situation is, you can always grow and learn from it, and know that the universe is guiding you. Everything happens for a reason. So when you can truly start to believe that, that is when you can always be happy. All right, guys, that is it from me. I do apologize about the lighting, the audio. This was a very quick video that I chucked together. You should see how makeshift my little tripod is that's going on right now, but I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any other tips on happiness, please leave them in the description below. I wanted to make this a little bit more deep rather than just saying, go out and, do your favorite things once daily or meditate, because of course those come naturally when we're trying to pursue happiness. I wanted to really get you thinking differently. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.